Well, welcome back to our podcast, Fridays at First. We actually have a returning guest. She has been here one time before, and so she's back. But we're going to have a special episode this week. So normally, Brett Kirk and I, call him Better Brett, and I kind of go through, sermon review and all that type of stuff. But we're actually in a series right now called Who We Are. And I was actually out of town last week, and we had a lot of stuff going on at church. We had baptism, which is awesome. We had the Lord's Supper. We had a missions report. So it was kind of a different Sunday. And so one thing I wanted to do this week is, since we didn't really have a sermon to review, the Who We Are series is talking about who we are as a church. And so I thought, hey, it would be great this week. Now, not all the staff was completely agreeing with it, but they're here. It'd be cool this week to just introduce everybody to our staff, and we're kind of calling it a ministry highlight series. And so we're gonna have all of our staff on to talk about this past year of their ministries, some highlights, where they're going, and introduce you to who we are. We're more than just the short bald guy that preaches every Sunday.
Pastor
all right,
Baldy.
Pastor Baldy. We're more than just Pastor Baldy. So the first guest we have today is Miss Stephanie Bickle. So you can give her a round of applause in your house wherever you're watching right now. And so she's our director of worship ministries, director of music, and she does a phenomenal job. And so I'm just going to open up to her and be like, Stephanie, how you doing?
We're great. Man.
Great,
it's
awesome.
A wonderful Thursday.
It is a great Thursday.
It's not scorching hot outside.
It is not, and we got coffee,
Amen.
And we're good to go. So if you look back this year, so kind of we talked about like our ministry year is kind of, like August to August. And so if you look back from last August to now and your ministry, because you do music ministry, but also you kind of have a little part in kids ministry with Zion Kids and stuff like that, which is musically geared, but it's also to kids. And so from Zion Kids to worship ministry, what are some things that have been going on in your ministry this year and things you want to highlight for our congregation?
Well, the first one was we started the Worship Arts Club, Zion Kids, which is an after-school worship arts program offered on Wednesdays. And every Wednesday that school is in session from our first meeting to the end of the year. We meet for 2 hours every Wednesday. We provide snacks and food. And that was, last year was our first go at that. And I think it turned out really, really well. We had about 30 kids pretty consistently, and we maxed it out at 30 because it was our first time, and we wanted to make sure, space, and that we could do the program well. And it was a great year. We had a great turnout, and anytime there was an opening, there was somebody else wanting to be a part of what we were doing there. And so on top of building those fine art skills for the Lord, the kids were connecting with one another, connecting with other church members, and then learning more about God. And so it was really cool just to get to see all of those components come together. And so we got to perform special music for our church services. I think it was 2 times, maybe 3 times.
Yes, 2 or 3.
The year. And then we had a special Christmas concert highlighting all of the different things.
And that was on like a night of the week, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah, that was
Wednesday.
a night of the week, yeah.
Yeah, and we followed that up with like a spaghetti dinner for all of the families that came to visit if they chose to stay. So thank you, Carrie, for helping out with that.
Shout out to Carrie.
Yeah,
She's not going to be in the podcast, by the way, but she keeps us fed on Wednesdays.
Yeah, she makes it all work together, that's for sure.
And keeps our coffee coming on Sunday mornings.
Amen. And so it was a huge ministry opportunity there. And so this year, as we've already got our roster full for that, and we have a waiting list of like 17, I think, so far.
Did you cap it at 30 again this year?
Capped it at 30 again, just spaces. We need to make sure we have enough instruments and all of those things. And
so I know I don't get too far off into the weeds on this, but what are some of the kind of instruments they learned during that stuff?
Yeah, great point. Yeah. We offer keyboard, ukulele, cajon, which is like the drum that you sit on and you beat. Yeah. Singing and dancing, drama. And then we're going to do a little bit more with like hands-on prop creation this year as well. And so I'm super duper excited. I think this year is going to be a little bit more structured. We know more what we can delve into and offer a little less each session so that the kids can really focus on one more intensely, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And you kind of got a year under your belt, so kind of got a better idea of what to expect this year.
Absolutely,
so, well, I know my kids loved it, and especially Bailey loved the drama. Yeah. The drama, they loved that. We had one of the kids who was just, who was it, Ava? I don't remember, but there was a part of the drama that just cracked them up. They still laugh about it when they talk about it, but it was a great ministry.
It was a lot of fun, yes, definitely. So, and a couple of those kids who have aged out are coming back as helpers this year.
Oh, really? So they liked it enough to come back.
To want to help. So that's
awesome.
great. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then, we partnered with Green Valley. Sorry to move on from that.
Yeah, no, you're good.
We partnered with Green Valley First Baptist for our Christmas program, and we had 60 plus people between the choir and the orchestra and the tech teams. Performing at Green Valley and then at our church as well.
So we did one there or two there. We did one there.
One there.
And so you kind of shift now to your Christmas musical.
Yes.
And so we are on a limited time, so there's a lot to get in.
I know.
In a short month, like Willy Wonka says, right? Like so much to do in so little time. So Zion Kids was a huge success. Launching that up again in a couple weeks. But so talk about your Christmas musical partner with Green Valley. So you had 60 people involved in that.
Yes, and it was...
And only one passed out.
Only one
passed out. So,
oh, gosh.
Yeah, so that's all right. He's okay.
He's fine.
Everything's fine. We wouldn't laugh about it if he was not fine. We're not laughing at him. We're laughing at Stephanie. So, anyways.
Yes, so luckily he's fine. And that was just a huge, again, an opportunity to come together as the family of Christ across different congregations, which is always a joy. And I know it ministers to the hearts of all those who were involved, and then all those who were able to be a part of the witnessing of that.
Yeah, it was. That's good. Yeah, it was a great Christmas musical. I remember I watched it. I think I saw it 3 times.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I was at every one.
That's pretty good.
I was there. But yeah, it was a great Christmas musical, and I think. Looking forward to this year. You got the reveal coming up soon, don't you?
Yeah, September 3rd. It's what, 3 weeks?
Can you believe you're already doing Christmas musical stuff?
Actually, we're starting late this year.
You're starting late.
Yeah.
Well, seems early to me because I don't even think they should have the decorations out in the store yet.
Oh, I know.
That's just me.
It comes fast. Well, it takes a long time to get it all together, and we always want to do our best for the Lord, and so.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you really think about it, you come once a week. That's really,
Yeah, 1 hour a week.
1 hour a week for.
Yeah.
3 months, that's tie it down, that's really not a whole lot.
It's only about 12 to 13 hours total of prep time for a singer or an instrumentalist. So.
Well, we're looking for that. Well, what about your Easter, how was your Easter musical?
It was so much fun.
It was incredible. I'm going to just tell you, I'm going to be honest here, like I'm not much of a drama person. Like I've never been a drama person. But so when you told me it was going to be a drama, I was like, I'm curious to see how this goes. And I'm telling you, it was incredible.
Well,
it was really good to see some of our members come out of their shell and act and dramatize. It was awesome.
I know. I was so impressed by how the Lord just placed it on the hearts of people and how willing they were to come forward and step out of their comfort zone.
Make costumes and all that kind of stuff.
Yes. I mean, it took so many people to make it happen. The costumes, the lighting, the props, I just cannot believe how outstanding people were in stepping forward and meeting the need for that. And you look back on it, and I'm still blown away with just the caliber that it was, and just the impact that it had on hearts. That's our goal, right?
Yeah.
Our goal isn't to impress people, but our goal is to worship and glorify the Lord.
But do it as best we can. Yeah, you want to do all unto the glory of the Lord. So.
Absolutely, that's our goal.
And I think it was really, and it's still on our YouTube channel. So if you didn't get to see it, go back and watch it because you will be blessed by it. And so yeah, you had great Zion Kids last year. You saw immense growth in that, which actually aided in the growth of our children's ministry, which we'll talk about. In when we have our children's director on. But then Christmas program was awesome, Easter. What are some other things? Got about two or three more minutes. What are some other things this year that just you want to highlight and say, hey, it was great? And also, maybe if there's a challenge the Lord brought you through, grew you through it, anything you want to share, the floor is yours.
Sure. Well, I think as tech, we're always kind of learning and evolving. And so there's been a couple of changes that we've made in the tech area that I'm still growing and learning through. And with that are some needs that are developing. And so if you have a desire to serve through tech or through playing or singing, or maybe just behind the scenes as we move back into the musical scene, musical time of preparation, if you have a desire to serve in any of those ways, please do come forward, talk to me, email me. I would love to connect with you, and I know that the Lord will use you in a mighty way. So obviously there's growth in that area, as tech always is changing and evolving.
Tech is hard, and
it is.
Give her props to her. She does the lights every week, or we do monthly, don't we?
We do. That's
actually harder than you think it is.
It takes a little bit of time.
It takes a little bit of time, and then band, trying to coordinate slides and all that. So yeah, there's so much. I don't think people realize how much goes into the tech aspect of, the sound, the music, the lights, everything.
Right. And we have amazing teams in place that then take that and just run with it and make it all work.
It's all right. That's what lids are for. That's what lids are for.
Amen.
Yeah. I don't have a lid, so I better hold on to mine. So.
There's countless people who just make all of that work. Sunday mornings, Wednesday night's going to be happening.
Yeah, that's coming up, isn't it?
And all of our rehearsals. Yeah, that's happening too.
Yeah, like 2 weeks or next week.
Next Wednesday.
Holy moly!
We must be ready. We must be ready.
So that being said, we're starting a Wednesday so we're gonna have 3 worship opportunities every week. Now we're gonna have 2 on Sunday morning and 1 on Wednesday night. Yes. And so that's something I put on Stephanie to provide, and she's doing an awesome job. So sometimes they get mad at me, but that's all right. No, I'm just kidding. They don't.
Not yet. No.
Not yet. But no, it's going to be an odd. But yeah, you got a whole nother team getting ready for Wednesday worship this year. So.
Yes, and so as we begin that, it may take a different form, a different shape as we move through that. But right now, as it is, it's going to be more of an acoustic setting, and then we can build it and grow it from there as we need to.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, and I think overall, I'm just so excited for how willing the people of our faith family are to step up and serve the Lord in however He's calling them. In the music department in particular, like our praise team has been able to grow, and our orchestra has added a member or 2. And so we're always looking for people who are willing to play, willing to sing.
Your Sunday singers have grown too.
Yes, Sunday singers.
They have grown. That's just like, that's a new. So I went back. I'm a stalker of our own YouTube videos too, because as I see where we go, I went back several months ago and saw the Sunday singers, and then I saw the last several weeks. I'm like, we've grown in Sunday singers.
Yes,
so if you want to just sing, no parts, nothing, just help lead in worship.
Yes.
That's what Sunday singers are.
Be joyful in the Lord, make a joyful sound. That's what it's about. And I'm so glad that the people are willing to lead in that way.
Amen. Yeah.
And we've had 2 pop-up choirs. That's what I'm kind of calling
pop-up choirs. Oh, like with the specials.
Yeah. Which have been.
Are those like the small ensembles? Is that what they're called?
Oh yeah, we did a whole bunch of small ensembles, which those people.
I'm learning a lot of terminology. I don't know. So.
I'm sorry. So we had a bunch of small groups that met at a designated time to rehearse for several weeks, but then we've also, which was phenomenal. Like every one of those has just been such a joy for me, just to get to be a part of and just to listen to. And several have spoken about how they've ministered to their hearts too. And then the pop-up choirs, we actually have one performing this Sunday where they meet and they rehearse 2 to 3 times. And then
that's why they're pop-up. They pop up
and it's no big commitment. It's just 2 to 3 rehearsals. You sing on a Sunday, and then you can continue to be part of other things, but there's no expectation.
That's pretty cool.
So yeah.
I now get the name Pop-Up Choir. Because they just pop up and then they go away, then they pop up again.
Pop up again.
Awesome. Yep. Well, fantastic. And also one more thing, you've been able to get some youth up in serving areas, like you got some in the orchestra, because I'm biased to one of them, by the way.
Yeah, you might know one.
I might know one, and then we're training some more people, some other youth to help, and so I think it's awesome to kind of bridge that gap and bring in some of our older youth and responsible youth up to serve the whole church body in that way. So
absolutely, and that's
awesome.
So important to give them the opportunity to serve and to nurture them and grow them up. And like when you start serving when you're young, like it just becomes part of your habit and your desire for the Lord, and He will continue
your DNA.
Exactly, He'll continue to call you into the ways you're supposed to serve.
So if you are watching this, you have a responsible youth or an older youth who knows some things, see Miss Stephanie, because we are trying to get some of our youth involved in serving as well.
Absolutely. And we can work with schedules and things like that. That's, because youth is happening at the same time as a few of our things. But just speak to me and we can be flexible. We can work together.
There's limited time, unfortunately, in life. Yeah,
I know.
All right, well, wrapping it up, do you have anything else you want to share? Anything going forward into this year? I know you got worship at the park coming up.
Yes.
And so
September 21st.
September 21st.
So bring a chair, bring some cookies or some brownies, and just come for a good time. We're going to have giveaways and live music and fellowship. And of course, there's an awesome new playground at Webb Park. That's where it is, Webb Park, 5 to 7 o'clock on the 21st. And it's just going to be an amazing time. I really hope that you'll come. This is going to be the same music we were going to do at Worship at the Lake.
They got canceled because of the rain.
Yeah. So,
but maybe this will even be better. You never know. The Lord has a way. It would have been great at Worship at the Lake.
Absolutely.
But maybe we're doing this in our community right by our church. And so if you're watching this and you're not part of our church, this is not just a church event. It's for the community.
Everybody come on.
And giveaways, no, don't tell the church this, but I would rather give away stuff to community members anyways. So don't tell anyone. No, I like to give away stuff to church. We want to bless our community. And so as a church, we want people in our community to come because we want to bless and give things away and serve our community in that.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely.
Good deal. Well, thank you for your time.
Absolutely.
The first returning guest on the podcast. So you'll be back sometime. All right. Well, we'll see you for part 2 as we get somebody else on here in a little bit. Have a great day. Well, welcome back to this episode of Fridays at First. We had Stephanie on just a minute ago and talked to us about our worship ministry and Zion Kids and some things coming up. Well, now we have my favorite staff member, my ultimate favorite. I think she's just amazing. She is my wife, by the way. So this is Miss Rachel Sandusky. She is our Director of Children's Ministries. And so been in this role just a little over a year. So you're interim for a little while. And then the real deal since November. So good deal. Well, so as I said with Stephanie, our ministry year kind of goes August to August. And so we just wrapped up the summer. So looking back from last August to now, what are some highlights, some things you look back on and you just want to let the church know or people see this of what the Lord has done in your ministry this year?
Okay, I want to start off with the verse, Psalm 77, verse 11. I will remember the deeds of the Lord. Yes, I will remember your wonders of old. So something I've kind of learned recently in my Christian journey over the last few years is just to look back at what the Lord has done, because sometimes we just tend to, we pray for things and then we tend to forget about when He answered them, because sometimes He doesn't answer them right away. And so that's something I've been mindful a lot of, going back and remembering what He has done and how He's answered those prayers. A lot of times I write things down, so then I'm able to go back and put, wow, the Lord answered that in 6 months' time, or, a year's timing, or just within a few short weeks. So that just kind of always encourages me for the future. Anyways, last summer, we totally updated the elementary hall with new paint, new flooring in all the rooms, decorated the hallway, and then we did a big overhaul of our big B6 room, which is where we meet for children's church and meet for our Wednesday night Kingdom Kids class. And so it pretty much got a facelift down there, and so it's bright and exciting. It looks good, and so I've really been enjoying that new updated space.
Lots of sound panels.
Yes, lots of sound panels to help with the echoing of that big B6 room, and so it's been great, a good space to use. And then we redid the flooring in the preschool hall, all the preschool rooms, added a whole new extended care room, and then we set up an entirely new check-in system as well, and then we made our preschool hallway completely secured and safe, and
added some bathrooms.
Oh gosh, I can't forget that. That's now inside the door with.
Thank you everybody who took part of that.
Yes, thank you for everyone who did all of that. So that's been a huge blessing to just.
Then we painted the wall green.
We painted the wall green.
It's bright green.
Yes, it's bright
right
green.
When you walk in.
You can't miss it. You can't miss where you're supposed to go.
FBC Kids on it. You've been the professional decaler this year.
Yes, the professional decal. So I spent many hours searching and purchasing those.
Overall facelift of the whole. That's one thing that's done just from the upstairs preschool area to the downstairs. We've just been able to totally facelift, and this is not a word, I want to make it a word, securitize the whole upstairs where the preschool is now locked in through check-in completely. They don't have to leave the lock-in area.
No, they don't.
So that's awesome. So, and it does look so good. Some of that carpet and stuff needed to be updated a long time. So
I appreciate our building and grounds, all the effort I didn't do. really any of that.
You bossed them around.
Well,
you bossed Matt Beal around.
I don't even know about that, but I appreciate all that they did to get that moving and keep on top of that. So,
well, good deal. So, what about the ministry-wise? Did you change any types of ministries? Did you? We started a children's church, so that was something that we did not have, and so we have children's church now in the second service, not the first service. So if you come to the first service, that's why you haven't heard about it, because it's something we offer for the second service. So talk about that. Talk about your Kingdom Kids on Wednesday nights and just what you've seen the Lord do in those things.
Yeah, let's see. Where did I put my notes about children's church? Well, children's church, we started at actually Back to Church Sunday last August. And
which is a year from?
Which is a year, so we've been going on a year. We started with about 5 or 6 kids on average, and now we average probably 15 to 20. Even a few weeks ago, I think we had 30.
And that's just the second service kids.
That's just the second service kids. And so when we initially started, I was the one doing it every week, teaching it, preparing it and everything. But in about 5 months' time, I was able to recruit several other volunteers. So I have kind of a team for each Sunday of the month, and they just kind of rotate and take their turns, and so that's...
So you teach it once a month?
I teach it once a month, or a fifth Sunday if there's that. So, but yeah, so that's been a huge blessing to have more people come on board and, serve the kids like that, and so it's very, structured in the front part of it, and then, about the last 15 to 20 minutes, we kind of let them have some free play with kind of all kinds of bins of toys, and they love it. It's great, and so.
So thank you to all who help serve the children's church area. That's and it's a really good ministry for families as well. So, good deal. What about Wednesdays?
Wednesdays, we've seen huge growth in that too. When I came on in May of last year, we were averaging about 9 to 10 kids in there. 2 of them were our kiddos.
Yeah.
And
other staff kids.
And other staff kids, yeah. So it has grown now to about 30 kids each night, and
even through the summer when we didn't have Zion kids or anything, you were still averaging in the 30, high 20s, 30s. And so.
It stayed, pretty steady. We've, people have been in and out and everything, but so that's been really good. And the other biggest blessing, there was just me and Rebecca Meisenheimer that were originally just doing that class.
But she left you now.
She left me now.
So
she went to the youth.
That's just the Lord's provision, because I know where you're going to go with this. So you had your right-hand lady.
Yes.
She was there. And then you started saying, well, she's going to leave because Tomato, Ava, is going up to youth. And so what did the Lord do?
Well, I had put it on my prayer list because she had told me many months ago, she says, I'm going to be, leaving and going over to youth with my daughter when she moves up, and which I totally understand that. And so I was like, all right, Lord. So I put it on my prayer list, for the Lord to send to help her. Well, within a month's timing, he brought a couple, Mike and Emma Prohaska, that actually filled in one week, and they're like, do you need some more help down here? And I was like, yes, I would love some more help. And they're like, well, we'd love to, plug in and serve every week. And so they've plugged in and they've served. And then Rachel Tibbs jumped in, has offered to be kind of a sub. And then I still needed somebody else, another lady in there. And Lauren Tatton, someone kind of suggested her to me. And so I asked her, and she's like, yes, I'd love to serve. And Eric Hightower, he's been serving down there as well. And I've also got somebody else that is wanting to serve as well.
You took a lot of my Bible study people.
I took a lot of your Bible study people, but I've just kind of been blown away at how the Lord has just, dropped all these people, in my lap. And a lot of them I didn't even go to, other than Lauren. Everybody else was just like, hey, do you need some help? And so
that's what prayer does.
Yes, it does. So
you don't want her praying against you. I promise you that. But that's just an awesome encouragement, and that just shows you, church family, how encouraging it is for your staff when you jump in and serve and pick up the ball in some of those areas. So,
and I also want to say to that, the Wednesday night, when you think about like the numbers, that's 200% growth, if my math is correct on that.
I'm not good at math, so I'll take your word on it.
I think it's like 200% growth, because we were averaging about 10, and then we bumped to about 30. So, numbers obviously are never, the goal,
but they signify people.
But it means people, and so.
And we're in the people business, someone told me.
We're in the people business, and people are what matters, and, we're able to connect with them. And so that's what I've loved, is just getting to know the kids and see them on a week-to-week basis and developing a relationship with them, so.
Absolutely incredible. So let's dive into what are some big events you did this year? What were some things along those lines, like Fall Fest, Spring Fest? I'm going to give you some of them, and camps and stuff like that, VBS. So just what did the Lord do in those things?
Well, we did a Spring Fest this year, which was very similar to like a Fall Festival. And we did it all inside, so we didn't have to battle the weather. And so we did do the big Easter egg hunt outside. And I don't even know how many eggs we did, like over 5,000.
Yeah, it was thousands.
Something like that. And
thousands. And they were picked up in 5 minutes.
Yeah, they were picked up in 5 minutes. And so we had just a bunch of different booths for the kids to go around and do. And we saw a huge turnout from that. So that was great. And then we did our first kids day camp in June, and I kind of was hopeful that maybe 20, 30 kids would sign up, and we had 50 kids.
You were praying for 30, I remember.
I was praying for 30.
You were praying for 30 and 50 showed up.
I think we had like 49 that registered, and so I was blown away by that, and that was a blast. It was so fun. Had lots of adults and youth volunteers that helped with that as well. Let's see, the first day, what did we do the first day?
First day, was that the water day?
Yeah, the water day, yeah. We got a bunch of water slides, and they could have done that for hours, so I shouldn't have even planned any other games. And then Tuesday, we did like dodgeball tournaments, and then for those who didn't want to do that, they were able to do like crafts and cooking. We made like chocolate-covered strawberries, and then the last day we went to Get Air.
Get Air. That was a hit.
Traveled there.
And we came back for pizza.
Yes. And so our biggest thing was that we made it very affordable. My goal was to make it very affordable for families. So it was like $10 a kid, because I didn't want that to be an obstacle about, why parents weren't able to send their children. And so that was great. We saw one young lady get saved as a result of that week. And so that was great.
Yep, praise the Lord. And then you didn't touch on it, but I want to touch on it because it's coming up again. We did our first Fall Fest last year.
We did our first Fall Fest last year.
And that was a huge success.
It was a huge success. I think some people were a little skeptical.
I had people tell me. I had one of our deacons tell me, I wasn't quite on board with that at first, but then he came back and he said that was a very incredible event. So
we kind of had the vision, and I was a little nervous about how it would all go too, but here in Missouri, the weather's very unpredictable. We had a big block party last August, I think, and it
rained the whole time.
So weather was not in our favor, and so we're like, hey, we're not gonna battle the weather, by doing a drive-through or trunk or treats outside. So we're going to bring them inside, and so people had their trunks per se set up at like table booths inside, all around the outskirts of the fellowship hall. I think we had like 20, 25 all around, and then they were able to go to the different rooms and do like face painting and balloon art and
pumpkin
a bunch
gospel,
of different pumpkin
kind of
gospel kind of show, and then all different kinds of games. And we were able to give out like some goodie bags to the parents that had tracks in them, and so
that was great. And so that's coming up again. So be looking for our Fall Fest this year.
Yeah.
All right, as we wind
VBS.
You can't miss VBS. That was
VBS.
Thank you, Miss Becky. But you can't miss VBS. So great VBS this year.
Yes, I did want to touch on this because last year, we had just been here a few months, and I hardly knew any of the kids, hardly knew any of the family. And then this year, it was so much fun because I knew probably 80% of the kiddos and the families. And so I loved that part of it. And we saw several salvations from some kiddos.
Had some baptisms the last few weeks because of that.
Yes. So that was
VBS
was the whole goal.
Yeah, whole goal of everything.
Yeah.
Huge success. So thank you for all who served at Vacation Bible School as well. So Sunday mornings, we didn't touch on it. We're not really going to touch on it, but we have connect groups for all ages. So you have our teachers and people who serve in those areas. But then in the second service, we have children's church. So all those things are going well and good. And Wednesday nights, Kingdom Kids is going good. And our events kind of this year probably have the similar events planned for this year.
Yeah, pretty much all the same. Yeah.
So Fall Fest, Spring Fest, Summer Camp, VBS, and so kind of the 4 big events of the year. We'll have a few other things in and out of there, but those will be the big
I've
ones.
got a few more plans for things, but
Good
I'll
deal.
put them on the calendar.
Okay, and so I'm going to say this. I'm going to turn it over to you to summarize anything you want to say in closing. But we want to always remember, and she's referred to it a couple times. She kind of jumped ahead of the gun a little bit because it was going to be kind of my last thing, but she's referred to it a couple times, and that's through all these things, we have seen several kids this year give their life to the Lord, and just had a baptism Sunday from a young girl who gave her life to the Lord at home, and so
We have 1 or 2 more planned too.
we have 2 more baptisms on the radar. So we've seen probably, I would say, just in the past few months, about half a dozen or so baptisms of our kids, and so and then more that are talking through things. So I just want to say that's why we do all this. It's to do that, but also we desire to reach the parents, and so we want to have a place for kids to come and learn and grow, so then the parents can come and connect as well. So closing, summarizing, anything you want to say about kind of your vision for children's ministry, your goal, what you're doing, and close it out.
Well, just kind of talking about roping the parents in, for the parents who are connected to church, and our goal is to kind of come alongside them, as they disciple their children, and just to kind of be part of it. Kind of it takes a village kind of thing to raise your kids, and then on the other aspect of it, we do have several kids that come that their parents don't attend church anywhere, and so that's a great time, to love on them and to share the gospel with them. We do Bible drills on Wednesday night, and we've had some kids that have been like, I've never opened a Bible before, like I don't even know how to do this, and so that to me is just always kind of mind-blowing. Like you don't have a Bible, you've never opened one before, and so that's always kind of neat to be a part of being that first experience for them of opening God's Word, because it's such a treasure. And probably, and we've talked about this, my approach to kids ministry is kind of like simple. I don't have any, big, I don't know how to say it. Yeah, extravagant, like
terminology
or approach. But and this kind of more focuses on my Wednesday night, but I believe that parents already have so much on their plates. There's dress up days at school, and this event and that event, and this sports thing, and you need to bring this for that, and my goal is just to take away the stress from those parents. Like, just bring your kids, we'll take care of them, for an hour, and we want to love on them, we want to teach them God's Word and have fun doing it, and so it's really just kind of
minimal requirements for the parents. We want to provide anything we're going to do. We don't want you to have to worry about. We want to provide it. We want to make it easy for parents to. Yeah,
my goal is really just to remove any obstacles that would keep you from bringing your kids on Wednesday nights, and so just pretty much no pressure. Just bring your kids, and then learning about Jesus is obviously our highest priority. We watch like a short video about the lesson, and then I teach the lesson, and we go deeper, and so and then we do like a quick review as well, so I kind of try to, double dose them on the lesson, and then we do like familiar songs with motions, and the majority of the kids really
love. I know my kids
really
do.
Get into them, even like your 5th graders, and so we kind of do a lot of the same songs.
But they're like contemporary. They're not like church, like just made for children. They're like Forrest Frank songs and church clap and stuff like that. Songs the kids really love to move to.
Yeah, and they love that. And then we do the Bible drills, that encourage them, to get familiar with God's Word. And I mean, even our little ones do it. I mean, some of them, kind of need a little help, but it's great. They love it. We make a big deal about that. And then we do, make time for some interactive, activities and games that they love to participate in. It gets a little loud, gets a little crazy.
Yeah, it needs to be loud. It's kids ministry.
Yeah, I think most of them have fun about it. So, yeah.
Good deal. Well, this is the first time she has been on the podcast. Stephanie was a returning guest. Rachel is a first, and probably until next year when we do this again, she won't be back on the podcast because this type of stuff is not her favorite. But she did it, so I'm going to give her an applause because she's here, and she did a wonderful job. And so we want to thank you for all you do for the kids and for the church through kids ministry. And I can only say this to you. I love you, and thank you for being here. And we'll be back in just a minute. I think Mr. Wiser Brett Pritchard will be on next. Well, welcome back. We've had Miss Stephanie. We've had Miss Rachel. Don't need to introduce the next guest, the next part of our staff. But this is Mr. Brett Pritchard, Wiser Brett. He is over everything in the whole church pretty much. So I can't give his purview. He's our associate pastor and does a little bit of everything. But we're going to really focus in this segment on our Connect group times and stuff like that.
Marvelous.
So we, like I said at the start of every segment, I kind of view our ministry year as kind of August to August because, you know, school's starting back up. You go through the school year, the winter, the summer, all that type of stuff. And so looking back from last August until now, what are some highlights, some things the Lord's encouraged you with, some just with our Connect group time and Bible study time and stuff like that?
Well, we have had consistently over the years a great process of Connect groups and those small groups getting together and ministering to each other. So that's been ongoing. In this past year, the exciting part is that we've stepped that up. Our attendance continues to grow. We're back up to just above the numbers we had before COVID hit and wiped us out. So we've grown.
Took a minute, but we came back.
But we got past that and back up and going. Very excited that we've actually started a new Connect group and having conversations. Sometimes reluctantly, we're having conversations, but we're having conversations about the need to start some other Connect groups and provide space to do that, because the reality is we are not going to reach our community for Christ if we keep trying to cram more people into the existing organization, the existing number of Connect groups, because they get one too big to be functional small groups, and then the other part is we just don't have the space for that. So there's not rooms big enough to hold those kinds of things. So
you get much more than 15 or 20, you're crowded.
You are crowded. Yeah, and not just physically crowded, it's relationally crowded. It gets hard to be a functioning small group, and you have some that are larger that do a pretty good job of that, but they're not as effective as if there are 15 to 20 to, not much more than that to get at that. So.
Well, good deal. So we have had some growth. We call it birth the new class.
Yay.
Because we don't divide classes.
No, we do not.
Classes give birth to another class.
Yes.
And birth is a thing of celebration, right? And so sometimes we look at division. If you divide a class, that's sad. It's dividing. But, giving birth to a new class, that's something to celebrate. And so
it is.
I think
one of the things that folks forget is if we hadn't done that over the years, that consistent growth we've had over the years in our Connect groups, their class would not exist.
That's good.
What they're enjoying now is because somebody else was willing to take a leader and a handful of other adults and go start a new Connect group, so then they were then reached or incorporated into that. So if we don't allow ourselves to create those new Connect groups, we're cheating future generations and other people from having the experience that we so cherish in our Connect group.
That's good, because like you said, a lot of those classes had to start at some time, and now they're beloved and they're a group they do life with, but somebody had to start it.
Absolutely.
Many moons ago. So
many
moons ago.
Yeah.
So encouragement, if you're watching this, our church family, and maybe the Lord's laid in your heart to lead a Connect group or start off. You don't have to have 25 people start off. Take you and please don't. Take you and 3 or 4 others or a couple other couples, and just go start and see what the Lord does.
Right.
And so the one that just started a few months ago is doing well and doing good. So good deal. So if you look back through that, I know you're also anything else on Connect groups you want to share? Or?
If you're watching this and you're not in a Connect group, you need to fix that, because that is the place in the church family where you get to experience the fullness of that family, because you can sit in the sanctuary with 200 and something people and be a part of a group, but you're not connecting with them at the level that is what makes you family. So if you're not in a Connect group, make sure you find you one of those, or let us help you find one of those, so you can experience the fullness of what it means to be a part of this faith family.
Because we are people connected by Jesus.
I heard somebody say that.
I heard a lot of that. And one way we're connected by Jesus is being connected to each other. And the best way to connect is Connect groups. Which is why,
that's the name.
Which is why they're called Connect groups.
Exactly.
So also you're you are kind of the primary overseer of our building and grounds type stuff as well. So if you look back, Rachel talked about a little bit, just some of the updates in the kids' wings and stuff this year. Looking back over, this is the last question I'll have for you, unless you have anything else. What is some things, that our church family has accomplished with our building and grounds this year, but also maybe something coming forward maybe something building and grounds coming forward that we would want to let the church know could be possibly, potentially, maybe happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, one is 2 years ago we remodeled the sanctuary, and it was a wonderful success. Then we moved from there onto our preschool hallway or wing. I did some renovations on that as far as carpet and things like that, and decided we would really like that to be a secure wing. So we did some other things, added a little tiny bathroom for the little tiny people to go in.
Little tiny bathroom.
Tiny. And got the doors on both ends, so everything is in there. They don't have to come out for anything, or working on our security check-in part, and that's always a thing we tweak as we go, but that's important also. So we've done that, we've kind of checked that off. So the Building and Grounds Committee is moving on next to looking at our fellowship hall, and it's the same reasons why we needed to remodel the sanctuary, as it hadn't been touched since 1982. Also are reasons to remodel the sanctuary. It's not been substantially changed.
Fellowship hall.
The fellowship hall, thank you. Fellowship hall that has not substantially changed since 1982. So the tile's the same tile, and has had repairs and coming undone, and and it's going to be, hopefully, maybe with church approval and all those kinds of things, hopefully will be more than just little paint and things like that. They're looking at potentially ripping out the kitchen and bringing that up to a little bit more modern standards.
Because we like fellowships.
We do like to eat and fellowship, that's true. Also, a possibility that we're looking at is to go out through the east wall where those windows are down the fellowship hall, build a structure out there that we have access from the fellowship hall into that gives us some more space for those Connect groups that we talked about earlier.
Because we do need more Connect group rooms.
We need rooms for that. So we're excited about that, and then other things potentially going forward also. But so we'll be talking to the church body. We're working now on the numbers and some drawings, and as soon as we have those things, we'll come to the church body with that information and see what the church thinks God's saying to us.
See if we can get their blessing on it, and if that's what the Lord wants us to go and do.
Absolutely.
But I can tell you from firsthand, that I'm getting less and less new every day, obviously, but only being here about a year and a half, I remember walking through when I walked through the church, the upstairs and everything looked so good and so nice. I remember walking downstairs, I was like, oh, this is not. And I actually had some new members tell me that just a couple weeks ago that they just came for a long time and just came to church, and so they'd come in, go to service, and leave. Come in, they never went downstairs. And the first time we went downstairs, we're like, this is not near as, they weren't complaining about it. They said it's like you go up to brand new, modern, everything down to 1982.
1982 is exactly what
and you can tell. Yeah. And so, but again, it's one of those things that hopefully the Lord will allow us to take care of.
And the beauty is that the last, with the sanctuary remodel and the preschool hall remodel, we had the money because the church is so faithful to give regularly, so that's built up in there. Then also when we have those special needs, this is just a great, generous church. So whatever that ends up costing, I have no doubt that the body of Christ will, if that's what the Lord's leading us to do, we'll step up and do that. And we're not going to look at hopefully incurring any debt or any of those kinds of things, just get at it and go and bring that up to speed.
And once you get the downstairs done, the church will be done. I mean, the inside will be upstairs, downstairs,
Right.
kids' wings, youth building's fairly new. I mean, we're good to go.
We're good to go. Then
praise
we
the
look
Lord.
at whatever's after that.
Look at whatever's after
Because
that.
we are going to have more connect group spaces. It's
Yes.
somehow, some way.
So, and we hope we have to have lots more because we
Lots
want
more.
more and more and more. You know, I've heard it said before that the bigger your church gets, the smaller it needs to feel. And so, you know, as you grow and you reach families and things, you need to have more opportunities to have them connected on a, you know, 15,
Intimate basis.
10, 15, you know, group basis. So, well, good deal. Well, thank you. If you have anything else from your purview, or as you like to say, your bailiwick,
My bailiwick,
that you would like to share with the faith family or anything before we sign off?
No, just thanks for letting us serve with you. And God is doing amazing, amazing things. And if we will follow Him, it's going to blow our minds of all the things that are coming our way. So hang in there.
Amen. Well, as always, it's been a pleasure. And I'm going to go get the better Brett.
And He'll do His magic.
You're the wiser Brett. I'm going to go get the better Brett.
Okay.
And we'll continue on.
All right. Thanks,
We'll
boss.
see you in just a minute. Well, welcome back again. The regular podcasters are in the chairs again.
Yeah.
So this feels normal.
It seems normal, but it seems weird at the same time.
Normally weird. But anyway, so we've had Stephanie, we've had Rachel, we've had wiser Brett, now better Brett. He is our youth pastor, leads that and does a lot of our digital media as well too. So where we've been going with this every segment is, you know, we kind of view our church ministry year, at least I do, from like August to August, because it's just like a good kids come back to school. You go through the fall, the winter, holidays, spring, summer, and then you start, you know, that time is when kids a lot of times feel that restart, that renewal more than January. So if you look back on last year from August to now, like what are some highlights of youth ministry, some things you saw the Lord do, and just some things you've been encouraged in this year?
Yeah, I think just in general over this past year, something really that's been encouraging has been first just numerical growth, just like across the board with retreats, just having more of our regular youth students getting involved with our retreats and camps of every single one of our fall retreat, our spring retreat, and even our camp increased from how many students went last year. And then not only that, but thing we just had our back to school bash. That's just on my mind.
12 hours ago, hardly.
Yes, not even that long ago.
Yeah.
But that was our biggest back to school bash we've had yet, and we had 65 students, and that's just something that we just keep on seeing. And like one other really big event numbers wise was our Friendsgiving last year. We had around 75, 79 students that showed up for that, and just so we just keep on seeing just consistent numerical growth. But that's not the only thing, because that's like ministry goes. Like, it's not all about the numbers.
But it is about the people.
Yes, it is about those people behind those numbers and reaching those students and getting them closer to Jesus. And that's the second encouraging thing generally with youth ministry over this past year is it hasn't just been numerical growth, but there's been a lot of spiritual growth where we've had multiple students who accepted Christ for the first time. We had multiple students who were baptized. And then one really cool one, so this strength training, again, another area where we doubled and sometimes tripled in size from the previous year.
You even had to have the preacher drive you sometimes because you didn't have enough cars.
Nick was super helpful one of the days, helped drive us to Mod Pizza.
I didn't even eat, but I still went.
Yeah, and that's sacrificial service.
That's how incredible
service.
your pastor is, humble.
Yes.
And no, I'm just kidding. I'm totally joking, by the way.
I'm not. Though. I'm not. That is such a blessing. Nothing against other pastors, but other pastors wouldn't just drop what they're doing to help serve youth on a random Tuesday and take them to lunch. And so, we had growth numerically with that. But this past year, we've been going through a secret Bible study. And so that is a Bible study geared towards people who aren't familiar with Jesus. Maybe they're unchurched. Maybe they even believe in a different religion. But it's for the people that are far from Jesus, for them to go through a Bible study that gets them to hear Jesus on his own terms, getting into Bible and getting them to see what Jesus is really like. And that's what we've been going through, teaching our students that in hopes that they will lead their friends that don't know Jesus through that study. And we even had one of our girls with her softball team. There's a lot of girls on her softball team who don't know Jesus. And she's like, hey, I want to do this study. And I was like, all right, I'll get you the books.
Wow.
And then she just reached out to me, hey, we got more people on our team now. Can I have more books? And I said,
So
yes.
she's leading the Bible study.
She's
Her
leading the
softball
Bible
team.
study with another Christian on her team, and they're going through that. And then, so just be praying for that, not just them, but other students that went through strength training would be encouraged to build relationships with non-believers and then work up to where they can invite them to go through a study about Jesus.
Awesome. Well, that's great. So, man, yeah. So, we say this a lot, like, no, it's not about the numbers, but it is to a point, because numbers represent people, and we're in the people business. I heard somebody say not too long ago. So
a wise person
who was in that chair just right before you. And so, I always, I understand the thought process, because I think everybody that's been on this podcast today has said that it's not about the numbers, and it's not. You don't do things if nobody else is coming. You still invest in the people you have, and you shepherd their hearts, and you grow them. But the Bible says that the Church of Jesus is going to grow. It's going to go, and it grows by people. And so it's just awesome to hear that it's been a common theme through all of our ministries of just the numerical growth, from Stephanie and music to Rachel and kids to Brett and Connect Group to you. And so love to hear that. And every one of our staff members, talked about how that numerical growth gave them greater opportunities to develop to help these people develop their spiritual growth. And so it's incredible. So so great Wednesday nights, Connect Groups. And we'll talk about what are some events you had this year. That you mentioned retreats, you mentioned camps. So what are some events you've had this year, and maybe going forward to next year, what are some events you're looking forward to?
Yeah, so we do every first Wednesday of the month, we do something bigger for our students. So again, so it's easier for them to invite friends to. We still have a lesson, we still have worship, and time to point them towards Jesus and help them grow in their faith. But we do some more fun things. So this past year, one of the new ones that we did was a camo night. So everyone wore camo.
Camouflage, okay.
Yeah, and then we even tied that in with the series we were going through. We were talking about camouflage Christians, of both those who are, in church and playing the part, but maybe are far from Jesus and don't actually know him, as well as not blending in with the world, because of that Romans 12, 1 and 2 of not being conformed to the pattern of this world. And so we did a camo night, which was a great time. Everyone wore camo. We had some camo related games, and I think we even did launch some pumpkins that we painted.
You did launch pumpkins, yep.
Yes,
because that was in October, your pumpkin painting. So then you launched those pumpkins for camo night. Yeah,
yes.
Pretty cool. I remember that.
We did that. We did pumpkin painting. We do that every year, and we'll probably do camo night again this year. Other big first Wednesdays that we have are our ugly sweater night. That's always a big one, doing some Christmas related games. And then it's not a first Wednesday, but we always do a Christmas party on a Wednesday every year, and that's normally where we do a white elephant gift exchange. Okay. That's another big one that you just get a lot of students to come to that. And then we just mentioned a second ago, we have Friendsgiving on Wednesday as well, which is
I like that
where
one.
we just come together, talk about what we're thankful for, and we feed a Thanksgiving meal to our students. We get that catered, and that's always a huge hit, always invites other students, and it gets them thinking and being grateful, and ultimately pointing them towards to be grateful for what God has given them.
Amen.
I'm trying to think.
What about your retreats? Talk a little bit about your retreats.
So we had, this past year, we had 2 retreats, and then we also had camp during the summer. So we had a fall retreat and a spring retreat. We just had hold on. Now I'm trying to think which one we did what. One of them is here at our church. Our fall retreat, he is here at our church.
And then spring is at Blue Springs.
At First Blue Springs, and we partner with them. So during the fall, we put on a retreat here at our church, and we had a lot of people from our own church serving it. We had our worship team leading worship for that. We had our people doing cooks for that. We had our people doing host homes for that. And that's a super awesome event, because we could not have that event if we didn't have a church who supported youth ministry, not only financially, but also with their hands and feet of being there and supporting them. And so, that's a Friday and Saturday, and then we finish stuff up on Sunday, but we have worship, we have lessons, we have small groups, we have some team competitions and fun activities, and those retreats are just a time for students to take a break from the normal pace of life, because their lives are hectic and crazy, and they're always going.
Always
and then
going.
Getting a break from that, getting a break from everything else going on, and time to not just have fun, get connected to other believers and have that fellowship, but also have that time to grow closer in their walk. And it's always those retreats and camps, whether it's at our church or whether it's with First Blue Springs or it's at some campsite. Those are always ones that it really impacts students because they just get to get away from distractions and really let Jesus impact their heart and change their lives. And that's one where we always have stuff where students make the decision to follow Christ for the first time. We have students who like rededicate their lives. Hey, they've already gave their lives to Jesus, but then they say, hey, I haven't been living for him. I haven't been following him like I should. And then we have other ones that like they decide to get baptized for the first time. And so those ones are always just a great time. Again, we have that one here, one at First Blue Springs, and then we did a camp with First Blue Springs this year as well.
Your summer camp. Incredible. Yeah, I just say it's been awesome to watch because you were here a year before me, and so you were still kind of getting your footing, in the year, starting to learn the people, the church, get your routine going, and just to see that over this year, that kind of take grip, the way you do things, the structure you have begin to flow, and the growth that comes with that has been really cool to see.
Yeah, and that's and I've said this on the podcast before, it's just one of those things of, Emma and I are so grateful for the work and ministry and the foundation we're already building off of the youth pastors and youth leaders that came before us.
Amen.
Because the reason we're already seeing fruit in our youth ministry right now is because of those foundations. And so we weren't planting from scratch. There was already seeds that were planted, and we're just harvesting that. And then now we're really starting to get our footing and
plant new seeds that will be harvested.
Yes, yeah. And I'm sure you feel similarly with just. Oh, you've only been here a couple of years. Feels maybe like forever sometimes, but feels like it
feels like forever, and then feels like it's been a month at the same time. Like it's crazy, and we'll talk about that here in just a minute. But yeah, so man, youth report, things are going well. I mean, as always, this is a ministry highlight. There's struggles, there's things that it's not all candy canes and roses, which I don't even know what that means, but I guess candy canes are good and roses smell good. I don't know. They're not all candy canes and roses, so. In talking to Stephanie earlier and Rachel and Brett, and then this Brett, there's been things we've had to work through. And so I just want you all to know that yes, we're highlighting the highlights and the things that God has done. But I just want to thank all of our staff. They've weathered. It's frustrating. It's hard, not just frustrating people, but just personally frustrating trying to figure out what to do and the best way to do it and how to plan and just to see everybody come through that. So, but the fruit is always worth the stuff that goes into it. All right, we had a little camera malfunction there, but we are back. I have no idea how that's all going to be edited together or whatever, but I have no doubt you'll do a wonderful job in that. So one more thing I have for you. Yes, youth ministry is your primary position and role, but also you're our digital dude. So this year you've kind of taken on an extra role of, media and digital, and your wife helps with that. So looking back through that, digital-wise, what are some blessings you've seen, or just how we've grown in our media presence this year?
Oh yeah, I think the big one, you're watching it right now, is a podcast. We have, I think this is the 27th, maybe 27th or 28th
quite a few.
episodes.
And they're all relatively, consistently watched. And so, not the highest numbers in the world, but consistent every week.
Yes,
so,
and then also the impact, I feel like, has been deep too.
I've hardly had a week. I've had weeks, but there's been many, many weeks that I've had people stop me on Sunday telling me thank you for the podcast, and they enjoy listening to it. So, so it's been a good thing.
Yeah, and I've heard the same thing of just people who will stop me and say, hey, I'm so glad you guys started doing the podcast. That's been a blessing in my life. And so love hearing that. And so that's been a cool thing of just, starting this podcast. And we didn't know what it was going to look like.
No idea.
Let's try starting a podcast and see what that is. And we're always going to improve things and change things to make it the best it can possibly be. But yeah, so the podcast is one of them. Another one is we've been doing it for a little bit longer, but we get photos on Sundays every single week and get those posted, and we've been trying out some different templates of posting the photos, but also making some videos, short form videos, because those are really popular online. And then we're going to start doing them more soon. We're going to start them back up. You might be familiar. We started doing a little bit of sermon clips where we would take bits of Nick's sermons and we would chop those down so that they were just little short clips that are easier to digest, as well as that are just helpful for anybody, whether they saw the sermon or not. And so we're going to start doing more of that soon.
Amen.
And we're going to try out some other templates and different things with social media. But it's a great way to, one, celebrate what God's doing in our church, just like we're doing right now, we're celebrating and highlighting the ministries in our church. And that's what we do. That's what one of the big things of social media. It's not just, we're going to get out information and tell you about events, but it's also a great way to celebrate what God's doing. You get to see pictures of someone being baptized. You get to see videos of a mission trip that just took place. And it gets us all to celebrate how God is working within our church, within our community, and within our people. Amen. And so that's been really cool. And we'll continue to do that. And social media is a really good way to reach the community, because that's where everyone is. We don't have as much in our communities right now of like, we all go to the same market. We have different grocery stores we go to. We got different gyms.
Or you order them to come, order your groceries to show up at your door.
That's what Emma and I do. We get Walmart groceries delivered most of the time.
But then you also, people don't, visitation. I tell people this about social media. When I was growing up, you'd have weekly visitation. Like me at the church at Tuesday night, we're going to go knock on doors. Well, people don't do that anymore. Number one, don't want you to do that anymore. If they're home with their families, they don't want you to knock on the door. But number two, it's just really hard to do in the culture we live in. So I believe social media is that in-home visitation where they're sitting in their house, boom, something comes from the church or a text message, or they're scrolling Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, and that's how we make those contacts inside the homes of these people in our community. So.
Oh yeah, and then one thing that I also encourage you right now, if you're watching, is when you like and you subscribe and you comment and you send, whether you share it on Facebook or send it to someone directly, when you do that with our posts, that reaches more people in our community for that. And again, if you don't like it, don't like it.
Don't like it, yeah.
But if it's adding value to you, if you're enjoying the podcast, or if you like our photos that we're posting, or different content, liking them, sending them to other people, sharing them is a great way to just naturally reach more people for Jesus.
Amen. Awesome. Well, we could talk about more, but we will move on because everybody has been talked to but me. So we're going to reverse the roles here just a minute, and you can get back, actually reverse them back to the original roles where you asked the questions. All right, so now I'm on the hot seat.
Yeah, so we've been talking about highlights over this past year in all these different ministries, and just how God's been working both numerically and spiritually, and just what he's been doing. So as the head pastor, as a senior pastor, what has God been doing through what you've seen in your ministry role and just through our church?
Yeah, so I could say so much here. And one, I started here in March of 24, so I've just really kind of hit what I believe, where I feel like I've kind of have an idea of what's going on, because church like this, there's so many different parameters, so many roles. There's committees to get to learn, and the parameters of how you change things, or who you talk to. And so I've really felt like this past year has been a really good year of finally beginning to get some of those things implemented and seeing some of that stuff begin to take shape and take hold. And so if I look back, one, I'm going to just get on the bandwagon and say two, you see since last year, you see the numerical growth in every area of our ministry. Our connect groups for the first year I was here was running between probably 250 and 275, and now we're consistently averaging up into the 320s and 300s in our connect group time. So see growth there. One thing that I've seen has just been awesome. So when I first got here, it kind of took me back that there wasn't a whole lot offered on Wednesday night. So we had, kids and youth, but like for adults, like we had one Bible study that met, but it wasn't, it wasn't very promoted and all that type of stuff. And so last year I started a midweek Bible study, and man, we have seen, I think when we first started, we met in a room, and we'd have some days there was 2 people there, some days there was 3, but the last, we've had 25, 30 people in that Bible study, and actually has birthed into what I'm super excited about, that is our Wednesday worship that starts in just a week. And so to see the growth in those ministries, and Wednesday night's been one of my biggest encouragements because I'm a big Wednesday night person. I always tell the church, hey, I'm not going to try to crowd your schedule. I don't want to say, hey, Bible study at church, sponsored Bible study on Monday night and visitation on Tuesday night. I want to utilize Sunday mornings and Wednesday nights. Like that's what I ask our church. Give your church Sunday morning and Wednesday nights, and I'm not going to try to bug you the rest of your schedule because you're busy. You have things to do. And so I really, really promoted Wednesday nights, and we have seen in every area from children to youth to our worship ministry to our Bible studies, we have seen such growth. And that growth breeds fellowship, which has been something that's another area I would highlight is I'm a big fellowshipper, I believe. That's why we've changed a lot of wordings to connect, like our connect groups or, where people connected by Jesus because connection's important. And so to see those things birth into friendships being built. And just last night was Wednesday and we had people here till literally 10 o'clock last night, fellowshipping and visiting after our midweek activities. And that just, man, that encourages me.
And that's a good sign of, I get the people that are detail-oriented that are like, hey, well, they're supposed to be gone. We're supposed to end by now. And I get that. I get that mentality, and you kind of need someone to be aware of that so you aren't here until 2 or 3 in the morning.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
But at the same time, one of the best things you see in ministries, whether that's youth or kids or adults, whatever, is when people want to stick around even after the event's over. And because then that's showing that they have genuine relationships, that they're having a good time, that they want to keep on spending time together.
Yeah, and it's that way on Sunday after second service, man. Like a couple Sundays ago, I think we walked out of here at like 1:15 and service is over at 12:15. And so just people visiting for an hour, and that breeds those people's kids visiting with each other and getting to know each other. So that helps with, their kids. And so I've just been encouraged by just the fellowship and the community and the connection that I'm seeing being built between families. And so that's always encouraging me. So another thing I would say is, just to see the events we had this year. From Fall Fest, which was a huge success, to all the youth events, but I'm talking about church-wide events, to, our staff Christmas card, man, that was, I was thinking about that just the other day. It was such a fun time. And then our Spring Fest and Vacation Bible School, to see the growth, not just in people coming, but our people serving those is incredible.
I think we had like record-breaking numbers of people serving with VBS.
We had record-breaking numbers of serving. And that's one thing, like we say a lot, like Stephanie talked about it, I believe, and Rachel, I know Rachel talked about it, but you encourage your staff when you serve. And not just that, it's something we want. We want people to serve and to step in those roles. And so we have seen people have been doing that here for years, and there's been faithful servants here for years, but we've seen some new people willing to take in, those leadership roles and connect group leaders and all that type of stuff, which has been really cool. And then one thing, again, I could talk for hours, but I'm not going to. One thing that I've been encouraged by, again, all this has to do with fellowshipping and stuff, is, we kind of moved our business meetings to, instead of having them monthly, I believe we are just basically quarterly. I think we have 3 a year. And we've turned those into family game nights and fellowships. And so we just had one 2 or 3 weeks ago. And so people come, we have our business meeting. But then after the business meeting, we have food, and people bring board games and visit and play with, those games, and just have coffee and visit. And it's just been such a cool time, and we have one group, I'm not going to say who's leading that group, Debbie and Greg Latshaw, but anyways, they stay till I leave and they're still here, their table's still playing, and so that's awesome, and so I think one thing, if I look back on, now I'm going to ask if you have any other question about, I'll caveat with one more thing before I sign off, but I think that would be one of the biggest things I've just been encouraged by this year, is the consistency in attendance, but also the growth in fellowship and bonding and connection. Yeah.
Well, and one other one I want to see if you want to say anything else with is, so one thing you started is the Light Up OG Days.
Yes.
Which is, and personally, I just think it's an amazing thing, because not only does it get our people serving, but it also gets us in the community and serving our community and reaching Oak Grove and the surrounding community for Jesus.
So the Lord laid on my heart a long time ago, but we brought it to fruition this year about a ministry called Light Up OG. And so it comes from Matthew chapter 5, we're to be salt and light, right? And so our presence should add value to our community. I believe Christians should add value to where they are. And so we should be shining the light of Jesus in our community. So these are events we do 2, 3, 4 times a year. Just kind of depends. It's not hard and fast. We at least do 2 a year, but if opportunities present itself for more. And this year we did one, I don't remember, in March, I believe it was. And we went to gas stations and passed out gas station gift cards and prayed for people, and grocery store gift cards. And we had guys up here who were working on cars and changing oil. And we had people prayer walking and writing cards of ministry. And so just ways people, man, we had dozens of people serving. I mean, dozens. I almost would say, dozens and dozens, but there was tons of people up here serving in those. Just did one a couple weeks ago where we did a back to school drive, and we gave out gift cards in partnership with CSL, and shoe gift cards, the haircut gift cards, backpacks. And so that's just been an awesome time for us to get outside these 4 walls. It's not about sending money. It's not about writing a check. It's about being the hands and feet of Jesus and actually doing the work of the ministry in our community. So those have been, and we got more coming up. So those have been awesome.
And I just think that's so good, because a lot of times churches or Christians will talk a lot about, how we need to reach people for Jesus and reach our community and reach our neighbors, but there's not a lot of practical ways that we're putting that into practice, and I think this is a great way to do that.
Amen. I love it, and there's still things. I mean, I just have so many things in my mind right now that, hey, I'd like to see this or do that, but I just want to say 2 things in signing off, unless you have anything else. 2 things. One, the church, and I say this, I wouldn't even say this if it wasn't true. I don't have to go this route, but our people are just incredible. Like the generosity of you all in funding everything we do here and make it where we don't have to skimp on things, where we can go above and beyond and do like our Light Up OGs and youth ministry, like kids and worship. You all give us the resources to serve, and man, that's just incredible.
And that's what with youth ministry, I know it's always an encouraging thing, because I know the heart of our church and I know the heart of the people who are here. Not only do we have people to volunteer, but also I tell students, hey, don't let money be the reason you don't go. We will make a way for you to go, because there's plenty of people that come talk to me and they say, hey, if a student needs help going to this retreat or this camp, we will pay for it. We will help in any way we can. And that goes both financially, with service. It's just across the board. I personally have not seen a church who is just so generous with their resources and with their time.
Yeah, and so it goes into our stewardship, or our generosity acronym. It's not just resources, it's our abilities. Man, this church, as I was walking last night, it was Wednesday night meal, and one of our building guys walking out of the kitchen with a drill in one hand and something in the other hand, and he's been working all day, but he came up here to fix leaks and sinks and stuff like that. So that rhymed, leaks and sinks, and using his abilities, and that's just one. I mean, all over last night, you see the people, and then using their resources. I mean, this church is, and I say it, been a part of many churches who are not generous. The generosity of the church with their resources is incredible. And then their talents, and their time and their talents. I mean, just the way they serve us right now. We have Bible studies going on today in our church, and people using their time that way. So you all are just incredibly awesome, but not just that, but you're awesome we have implemented some changes, and we have continuing to implement some changes. And you all have responded, well, yes, there's questions, and yes, there's like, why are we doing this? But I mean, it's just the amount of support, even in some of the changes we've implemented, has just been encouraging to me that, hey, this church they are behind their staff, and they don't always understand. And we always welcome questions. We always, hey, if you disagree, come talk to us, talk to me. But man, you've been so welcoming to some of the smaller changes we made and some of the bigger ones we made, like Wednesday worship coming up. And then I have to say this, always encouraged with just the people we've seen come to faith in the Lord. I mean, we've seen baptisms, we've seen men give their lives to Jesus. I've talking to me personally, I've got to lead several men to the Lord in this last year and baptize them and see their families plugged in. We've seen youth.
Yeah. And that's like even more than that. It's just like, we've seen people be saved and then get plugged in. Yeah. And I'm going to hit a hobby horse here real quick, which is what
what, and we got to get off here, I know, but that's one thing I like about how maybe it's just me, I don't know, but in my ministry, most times I lead people to the Lord. It's not during the invitation. It's they come and talk to me throughout the week. And I have seen such a higher percent of commitment to those people who come talk to me. We talk through things. They give their life to the Lord. Then they come down in front of the church. Them committed, then, and so I love that avenue, that method of, man, a lot of these people have come talk throughout the week to you or to me or to Brett and given their life to the Lord, and they've stayed, they've plugged in, they've become, and not just that, they've got their whole families plugged in if it's the men. And so, so on top of the fellowship, on top of the generosity of our church, with their ability to reach, just the spiritual fruit we have seen of God's word changing lives and hearts. And not just that, there's been saved people who have been renewed or revived, and they have taken a fresh role to plug in and to serve. And so, like always, I said that there's been challenges, there's been frustrations. I've been part of those frustrations to people. I'm sure I've been part of those challenges to people, but that's what a family is. We work through those things and we grow over them. And so, it's not all been, it's been fantastic, but there have been challenges. But highlighting it, man, the attendance and fellowship, the generosity, and the spiritual things we've seen, the spiritual lives change has just been incredible.
And it's just the beginning.
And I'm looking forward to this year coming up. Lots of things coming up this year. So excited about it. Back to Church Sunday is this week, and we'll see a couple of those things here. But you never know what the Lord's going to lead us to do. So, hey, I hope you all have enjoyed this. Share it, give it to somebody, especially if you're looking for a church home or something, because we have today highlighted all of our ministries, introduced you to all of our staff, and we're looking forward to what the Lord does to us. Hey, y'all have a great weekend.